Hey everyone, welcome back to So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey.
You are probably wondering, who the hell are these people? They're not Ryan. My name is Kate Riccio. I go by Riccio Recaps online, and I have a podcast called The Reality of Reality.
I'm Josh Banfield. I am at Josh the RHONY Stan on TikTok and Instagram.
And we both have actually been guests on So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. Ryan and Josh have both been on my podcast, The Reality of Reality. And Ryan just had a baby. She's healthy. She's here. Her name is RHONY or Romy. Hold on.
RHONY.
Her name is RHONY.
Oh,
That was a Freudian slip. Ryan Bailey would name his kid RHONY.
That's going to be my kid's name.
Your name is, RHONY the RHONY Stan, obviously. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Her name is Romy. One of my favorite bits I do with Josh is I ask him if he's ever seen things, and he says no, and I yell at him because he was born in 2003. Is that right?
No, 2000.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You just look so young. Have you ever seen the movie Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion?
No, I'm aware of it as a concept, but I've not heard of it. Or I've not seen it, sorry.
One of Alan Cumming's greatest roles.
Oh, okay. Wait, who's in that? Who are the women in that?
It's Lisa Kudrow, Mira Sorvino.
Okay.
And then Alan Cumming, obviously. There's a lot of people in it. You would like it, but I know you don't watch media before 2000, so
No,
except for Grease.
Yeah, just Grease. That's the only thing.
In this episode of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey, Josh and I, this is a Southern episode, okay? Yeehaw. We are going to be talking about Southern hospitality and Southern charm, and we are qualified to talk about this because we actually just took a trip to Charleston and saw the sights.
We did. My suitcase still isn't unpacked. That's how recently we were there.
Josh, it wasn't that recent. My God, it was like 2.5 weeks ago.
I don't unpack frequently. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Things just sit in my suitcase for a while.
I also thought I was like really bad. Like I never unpack, but God, I'm not that bad. Don't you need things in there?
No, it's fine. I don't do much when I'm here.
That's fair. Josh is in New York. I'm in LA right now. All right, let's talk about our Southern hospitality trip. Josh had already been to Charleston a couple times. It was my first time there. I call it the Southern hospitality trip because we really only interacted with Southern hospitality people and not Southern charm people.
Yeah, I'm not a big, I mean, I like Southern charm, but Southern hospitality is like one of my favorite shows on the network.
Right. Like you can relate more to the Southern hospitality cast, yes, for sure. So like
it's so gay.
Exactly. Don't sleep on Rodrigo. Rodrigo is the hottest man on Bravo. I'm gonna have a lot of hot takes this episode. That is one of mine. I think Rodrigo is the hottest man on Bravo.
He's very hot.
And why are we not talking about that more?
It's true. It's very under-discussed.
Very under-discussed. But, so, yeah, we went to Republic. We walked into Lamar's. We went to Zachary's Daiquiris. We got Sir Wiener's. Brad got us a table Republic. We got the bottle service. Like, Brad and TJ, and we saw Mia as well, but, like, they were so hospitable to us while we were there. Josh and I got a little day drunk, and Brad drove us home on his golf cart. Josh got mistaken for somebody.
Oh, my God. That was horrifying. Yeah. A woman on the street thought that I was Will from Southern Hospitality, which it's not the first time I've been told that I look like him, but it is the first time that I've been actively mistaken for him.
In Charleston, of all places. I'm
not sure how I'm supposed to feel about that personally, but it's okay. She was a little tipsy, I would say.
It was her bachelorette weekend. She was living like she thought she saw Will Kulp. It's like, have you ever seen there's like a page of people that thought they met celebrities, so they'll take selfies with them, and then like because they're like drunk, and then you go back and they look at. I one time thought I met Sean Penn. I'll have to send you the photo after this. Let me tell you. Do you know who Sean Penn is?
I do.
Oh, thank God. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. All right, let's get into Southern hospitality because this most recent episode, it was the third episode of the season, I believe.
Yes.
And it was a pretty heavy one. And I think you were the one that actually made the comment of like, it's kind of amazing how we could have such a beautiful moment on Summer House only to have kind of the opposite happen on Southern hospitality.
Yeah, no, this was crazy. I knew it was going to be bad from the preview, and then it was somehow worse than I even anticipated it being. Emmy's handling of that conversation was just so diabolical, and it reflected very poorly on her. And it looks like from the preview, this is going to be an ongoing discussion, and that she kind of backtracks on her apology even more than she already did in this episode. So it's not going to be good for Emmy.
Right. Yeah. And like just to jog everybody's memory, like a huge part of this episode, and like Josh is saying, probably this season, is, the words that Emmy was using to describe Bradley: scared, aggressive, unsafe, which are obviously all microaggressions. And at one point, I mean, Michaels does say to her, like, hey, I just need you to know that, like, what you're saying could come off as a microaggression. Lake is agreeing with him. Bradley is agreeing with him. And my thing about Emmy is like, I just need you to take a deep breath, girl. If a person of color is telling you what you are saying is a microaggression, you need to stop and fucking listen to them. And she just can't. She's so defensive and no, wait, no, that's it's like, just like take a fucking breath.
No, it's very hard to watch. And I think I said this in my video about this episode, but she's just like so committed to her view of herself as the victim in every situation that she cannot see anything outside of that. And I mean, it's just very hard to watch. She was so bad in this episode.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because I am seeing like a bit of discourse online of people saying like, I don't think Emmy was screaming as much as people are saying she was in that hotel room. I think that's just like how she talks. But if that's the case, then like she needs to, I don't know, she's got to stop talking the way that she talks. Like
Yeah,
the
she
way
needs to
she
get a
talks
growth.
is talk about like that to me is scary.
Yes. I also think the use of the word microaggression in this context is also, is there an echo for you? Sorry.
Sorry, everybody. I now have headphones on because there was a bit of an echo. We're learning here, Ryan. We're learning. Anyways, Josh, please continue.
I think the use of the word microaggression is a bit of an understatement. Like it's pretty bad. And also the fact that she's not only I think I would be more inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt if she was only doing racial stereotypes or homophobic stereotypes. The fact that she is doing both, it's really, really hard to not come to the conclusion that she just is terrible.
That is such a great point. And I feel like I almost like forgot that was another major part of this episode where not only is she calling Brad aggressive and making her feel unsafe, she's calling TJ a predator.
It's crazy. And I don't know that I've ever seen somebody be so like committed to guaranteeing their own cancellation in the way that if she was apologetic about the Brad thing and was apologetic about the TJ thing, it obviously still would have reflected poorly on her that this happened. But like there could have been an opportunity to move forward. I mean, even in this episode, we saw Brad was very willing to move forward with her in a way that I was impressed by because I don't think he needed to be that polite to her. But the fact that then later in the episode she completely doubles down on the TJ stuff and says worse than what she said on the podcast, because what she said on the podcast, it was Nick who was leading that conversation.
Right, she just agreed with him.
Yes. Yeah. But then she completely says it again and takes full ownership over that statement, and it's just so crazy. Like, what are you doing, girl?
Well, how about later in the episode when TJ's making out with Michaels? Is that what you're referring to? Is that something different where she's like, okay, Grandpa, like,
there's
what
two
the
things.
Fuck?
Yeah. There's first when she's on FaceTime with her sister, she in her confessional says something about TJ going after drunk straight men. And then again, when he makes out with Michaels, she makes that seem like weird in an age gap way. Like she's on an active campaign to make him seem like creepy and predatory, and that's just so gross.
Yeah, look, my thing with Emmy, this was my POV about Emmy before this season, right? We knew she was coming back without Will. I was really hopeful that she was going to come back on the season, right some wrongs, become friends with everyone again. Because, when we did see this shine through in this episode, they all did have a real friendship. When she cried about Brad at one point being a groomsman in their wedding, like that made me sad because there really is real history there. But if you are serious about wanting to be friends with these people again, don't go in your confessional and try and be cheeky and funny and make fun of the fact that TJ's over 10 years older than Michaels and he's making out with him. It's like, that doesn't look good. I don't know. They'll never be friends. I also am wondering, well, there's two things I noticed. I noticed that they never said Vile Files or Nick Vile. They would say the podcast and the podcaster.
I love that. Don't give them the attention and the clout of saying their name.
I loved it too. I just found it to be interesting. And then I also felt like Emmy was calling Will my fiance more than Will. Like more than she was saying the name Will.
Yeah,
Why do you
she
think
didn't
that
say
is?
his name. I saw a lot of people commenting on that. I mean, the network is definitely not happy that he didn't show up to the reunion, so maybe they don't want to give him the airtime of having his name said, or also maybe it's a choice that she's making. It does feel a little bit silly if they told her, like, you can't say his name. Like,
right. I mean, other people were saying his name, right? And I did hear her say his name a couple times, but it was mostly my fiance. Maybe in a way, she feels like this is how I can separate Will from the show. Will wants nothing to do with this show. He doesn't even want his name talked about. But she does have to talk about him because he's a major part in her story. So I don't know. That was interesting to me.
I also just think she's that girl who's like so excited to be engaged that she's probably just saying fiance.
I
she, like,
know.
wants to, like,
She's already
flex
has
on everyone.
She already has like the screen printed shirts, wifey, fiance, wife to be. She's got the wine glasses. Like her bachelorette party is going to be branded, baby. I would like to know what you think about the newbie Justin.
I don't know yet how I feel about him. I definitely don't love the way that he speaks about women in his confessionals. It's not my favorite thing.
My biggest note. Yep.
I just can't stop thinking in all of these scenes about the fact that he's dating Charlie. Like, it just is, that exists in my head the entire time that I'm watching him.
Is that common knowledge?
That is confirmed.
Oh, is it? Okay, I wasn't sure. Yeah,
he was in her photo dump.
Yes, he was. You're right. Yes, he was. And it's been all over Reddit. The theories have been there that he and Charlie from Southern Charm
I know
are dating.
that it's true.
Yeah.
I'm not going to reveal my sources.
And that is a So Bad It's Good exclusive. Ryan Bailey, you are welcome for that. Although by the time this episode comes out, maybe they're like posting a couple photos. Who knows?
They're like married.
But they are cute together. And like, I do like that. But I agree, like, I'm not loving the way that he is portraying himself of like, he's like, I don't know. Here's my take. He thinks he is the hottest guy. He thinks he can have sex with whoever he wants. He says to me about Mia, I don't want to be a home wrecker, but I would wreck that home. Like I don't like that, but he is hot. I think he is hot. I don't think he's the hottest guy I've ever seen in my life, but I think he is hot. And you know what? I kind of like, it's kind of giving me like old school reality TV, right? Like you're a caricature of yourself. And I think it's funny. I don't like it. It grosses me out. He gives me the ick a little bit, but It's good TV.
I agree. I also do think there is something to be said about the fact that this show clearly has been trying to have like a bro-y fuckboy on the cast for like several seasons now. They tried with O'Sheen, they tried with Austin last season, and neither of those worked out. So I think he's doing what the producers want him to.
Right, and I'm like, so sorry, but stop trying to make Joe Bradley happen. Joe Bradley is cute. Joe Bradley is not hot. The slow motion scenes of him like washing his car and him winking to the camera, like, again, I think it's funny. I think the way they edit the show is really funny. But like Joe Bradley is not like hot fuck boy. I'm sorry. Like, do you agree?
I do agree. Those scenes were a little bit chilling to me. Yeah,
chilling?
The truck. I wasn't a fan of that.
No, definitely not. Did you see, I made a video about this. I won't be offended if you didn't see it. Like, Justin has this big reality TV past.
Yes.
And the biggest, he was on a Netflix show called Surviving Paradise, I think it was called. Then he went on to be on Perfect Match. Then he was on some OnlyFans TV show. So it was 2 dating shows, 1 survival show. But the interesting thing about him being on Perfect Match on Netflix is he was on that show alongside Chris Hahn from the Vanderpump Rules reboot. Like, I think it's crazy that not that many people are making this connection.
Ooh, did you hear that, folks? I just opened my last can of Olipop Classic Root Beer. And you know what that means? I got to order some immediately because it is my new favorite beverage. As you know, if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, I might have been addicted to traditional soda. Well, no longer ever since I've discovered Olipop. Now, this comes in all different flavors. We're talking the classic root beer, strawberry vanilla, cream soda, classic grape, and it's kind of good for you. Yeah. I mean, also, I've tried to be on this health journey, and also, I'm a new dad. I've got to take care of myself, and Olipop helps me do this. This supports that lifestyle because it has high fiber, low sugar, all in one can. Do you know 2 out of 3 Americans say they suffer from digestive issues, and 95% of Americans don't get the daily recommended amount of fiber? Olipop is tackling both of those issues with a drink that tastes just like root beer. It reminds me of when my dad used to make the root beer floats. I mean, it tastes exactly like that. And you're telling me it's good for me? Yeah, I'm going to drink this forever. And you should too. So try it out. Trust me, you can get a free can of Olipop right now. So what you do is you buy any 2 cans of Olipop in store, and they're going to pay you back for 1. And it works on any flavor, any retailer. I'm going to put the URL in the show notes, but it's drinkolipop.com/so bad. Drinkolipop.com/so bad. Olipop is sold online. Drinkolipop.com. You can get it on Amazon, and it's available in the soda aisle and with the chilled beverages at thousands of retailers nationwide, including Walmart, Target, Costco, and Whole Foods, all the big ones. So be like me. In fact, if you're listening to this, can you just send me Olipop? That would be great. I don't want to leave the house. Olipop.
That is wild. I don't know how I feel about all of that. I do think some people online are a little unrealistic with expecting that, like, just because, like, Ali Luber, for example, she did that, like, one, like, do you remember that? She was on some, like, local TV.
Yeah.
Like, that was not a real reality show. And people were like, she has a history of being on reality TV. And it's like, that is not real. And with the Netflix things, obviously, those are, like, more of real things. But if he just, I don't know. I don't think appearing on, like, one Netflix show that should mean that you're disqualified from ever being on Bravo until the end of time, personally.
No, I completely agree. I think that people saying, like, they've already been on reality TV, honestly, it's the same discourse with Sally Carson because she was on The Bachelor. It's like, yeah, people don't go on reality TV if they don't want to go on reality TV. If you already know they're going to be good reality TV, like, who cares?
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I don't think it's that big of a deal either. I'm completely with you on that. I want to get to Southern Charm as well, but there's a couple other things I want to ask you about Southern hospitality. Well, why don't you go before I start?
I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
As a woman, I wanted to ask you, and then we'll go back to earlier in the episode. Later in the episode, we have the drama with Grace, Lilly, and Emmy.
I was just going to ask you about that. Okay.
Okay. I really want your POV as a lady because it's easy for me as a man to be like, but actually, no, because honestly, okay, the drama, for anybody who doesn't remember, Grace Lilly gets mad at the end of the episode. They have a girls and gays night at whose apartment? At Molly's apartment.
Yeah.
And Grace Lilly asked Maddie what she was wearing, and I guess Maddie didn't tell her that it was a pajama party, and then Grace shows up in like a dress and finds out that it is, and she got like really pissed at Maddie and says that this is not the first time that Maddie has misled her about what she was supposed to show up to an event wearing. And the reaction from the group was kind of that Grace was overreacting, partially because what she was wearing was
looked like a nightgown,
pajama adjacent. Yeah. But I actually kind of understand, because if I showed up to an event and I asked my closest friend in the group what they were wearing and they misled me, like, I would be pissed too.
Josh, I completely agree with you. I actually don't think Grace Lilly was being that like out of line, only because this is not the first time it happened. And she did say, I asked Maddie what she was wearing to the Folly Beach party, and she said something casual, and she did not show up in something casual. I'm like, I think it's maybe a deeper thing between those two, where I don't think her anger towards Maddie was only about Maddie not telling her what the dress code was. Even Grace Lilly says in her confessional, like, she only spends all her time with Joe. Like, I've always felt this way. Grace Lilly is only really in that group because her and Maddie were such good friends. She would have never been on that show if it wasn't for Maddie. And she really, look, and I could be wrong, but as a viewer's perspective, she doesn't really seem super close with anyone in the group except for Maddie. And now she feels like she's losing her friend to a boy. Now, granted, as you grow up, I mean, they're in their 20s, right? Like, there are people from my 20s that I was way closer with, like, when I was college age than I am now. Like, naturally, people grow apart and their lives change. I think maybe Grace is having a harder time dealing with it, and it's coming out as, you didn't tell me what you were wearing. Or on the flip side, maybe it's not that fucking deep and Grace is just pissed off that she could have had some really cute pajamas she could have threw on and she didn't. But what I'm confused about is they also said Maddie wasn't wearing pajamas, but Maddie's outfit also looked like pajamas because it was like a striped set. I think the moral of the story is in the year of 2026, our clothes look way more similar to pajamas than we thought.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, it's not that deep.
And maybe it's not that deep, but I'm excited to see next episode, and I think we'll learn a little bit more where you can see Mia is going off on Grace, basically saying something along the lines of like, Maddie's really the only one that's there for you. Like, it seems like they're siding with Maddie over Grace. I did kind of forget about what happened last year in Vegas where Grace showed up late to the DJ set.
That was bad.
So I think Grace is in the wrong too. But if I'm just looking at it from G. Lily's perspective, I understand why she was mad.
No, I think in general with their friendship issues, I probably lean towards being on Maddie's side. But with this situation, I was like, if a close friend of mine misled me about what I was supposed to be wearing, yeah, I'd be fucking pissed also.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to see a breakup between Grace and Maddie, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And this isn't the first time I've heard somebody say that once Joe and Maddie started dating, they stopped seeing them as much. So I think
I don't think that's uncommon. Like, that's kind of what happens a lot of the time when you enter a relationship, when you're like around that age and you're kind of settling down and you're not out as much.
Yeah, sure. I guess I have a different POV about it because I feel like I've experienced that with friends and I've like always been in a relationship. And
you are really good at still like being out on the town even when you're in a long-term relationship. So I see why your perspective is different.
But you know what? Now let me say on the other side of things. I used to live in like West Hollywood, right? Like in the middle of everything. It was a little easier for me to stay in the mix, as Carl Radke would say. But now I have moved to a different town that's a little bit further from everything. And I have noticed I am choosing, granted, I'm 32 years old, but I am choosing nights in more than going out and getting drinks and blah, 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 whatever. Joe and Maddie not only are in a relationship, they stay at Maddie's house, which from what I understand is pretty far from Charleston. Like it's like 30 minutes away or something.
Yeah.
So that true. I understand.
Mm-hmm. I also want to go back to the dinner at the Folly House and ask you about, I'm really surprised because yes, like you said, Lake did like nod in agreement when Michael
Josh,
said
you are literally reading my fucking mind. I wanted to ask you about this too. Go ahead.
Lake agreed with the microaggression thing when Michael said it, but largely Lake is positioning herself on Emmy's side, and the preview came out for next week's episode, which I don't know how much we want to get into, but we see them ask Lake at the Girls and Gays night if she's on Emmy or Brad's side, and she just like straight up says she's on Emmy's side, and then it's like, well, Brad friend-zoned me, like why wouldn't I be on Emmy's side? And it was like, girl, just because Brad friend-zoned you doesn't mean that you can't like look at the situation and see that Emmy is clearly in the wrong. Like that's kind of crazy. And yeah, the fact that Lake was the first one to go out and comfort Emmy, I didn't love it. And then other people followed suit. Joe, Maddie, and Bella all also went outside and comforted Emmy. But I was like, Lake, what are we doing here?
No, I'm like kind of shocked at this friendship between Lake and Emmy. Now, I actually didn't hate that Lake went out and comforted Emmy after that conversation. Because although I'm like, eye rolly about Emmy, I'm going to play devil's advocate just for one brief second. She wanted to have a private conversation and they said, no, I want to talk about this in front of everyone. We know Emmy doesn't do well when she's confronted by multiple people. And yet for Emmy, she handled that situation decent for Emmy. Okay. For Emmy. Keep that in mind. So, you know, she handled that. She had the conversation. She didn't like storm off or walk away. She finished the convo and then she went outside. I liked that at least someone walked out there and was like, take a breath. You did great, blah, blah, blah. That I didn't hate. I don't love what you just said, right? About how she was like, Brad. See, was that in the trailer? She said, her saying Brad friend-zoned me?
It's in like, they released like the first 7 minutes for next week's episode.
Okay. Like, because in my eyes, that's two completely different things. But I mean, yeah, here's the thing. I kind of got to respect Lake doubling down, like at the girls and the gays night, them being like, are you friends with Emmy? And like just being like, yeah, I love her. I like that. That kind of took me off guard.
She's being loyal, but
she's
I
being
don't
a
think
loyal
the
friend.
loyalty is the right move.
You can be loyal to your friend while still having the tough conversations with them. And I hate to say this. God, I could be so wrong in what I'm saying, and I'm sorry if people disagree with me, but it's like Lake is also 23 years old. And I think, God, like, I don't know. She's young. She's young. She's just like, I just want to hang out with my friends and have fun. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm just trying to get in the mind of like what she might be thinking in this.
Yeah. I also was wondering, like, when Michael said said out loud that it could come across as microaggressive, I was like, I think a lot of the audience perceived that as him like checking her, and maybe that is what it was. But I was also like, he kind of helped her in that moment by saying that, because it was at that point that she fully shifted her tone and all of a sudden was like recognizing what was going on. So I was like, was that like a subtle like assist to her? I couldn't tell.
Oh, I think it was an assist. But I don't think it was like deep in that way. I think to me, it was obvious Emmy had no idea what she was saying was wrong. Everybody else did. I mean, dude, he said it to Maddie Reese and she immediately was like, oh, you can't do that. So I'm not siding with Emmy. I need to make that clear. Yeah. But she obviously had no idea the weight that her words were carrying. So I do think if I were Michaels or anyone else in that situation, my mindset would be like, we are going to talk about this forever. She has no idea. Like, we're skating around what's really going on here. Emmy, what you're saying is a microaggression. Like, let's just get to the bottom of it right now. I don't know. I don't think he was checking her. I don't know that he was helping her. I think it was just like, how are you not seeing this?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I think I view her as more diabolical than you do, because I'm like, she knew damn well what she was doing. But
I want to make it clear. She shouldn't be on this fucking show anymore. I mean, I want to make that very clear.
I know that you're not defending her. No, I know. But even that came up on the show where like Mia had a confessional being like, I don't know that she knows like what she's saying. I don't know. Like I lean toward, I don't think she understood what she was being called out for in that moment, but I do think that she knows the weight of what's saying that. And if she doesn't, then she's an idiot. Like, you're a white lady in the South, you should know that.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing, even if she doesn't know, isn't that part of the bigger problem? Like she may genuinely not have understood the weight that her words were carrying, and that's bigger to me than if she did. Right? Like, it's the big year 2026. Like, it's bad either way. It's bad either way. And I'm at the end of the day, I'm actually really, I hate that it has to happen, but I'm really glad that these types of conversations are happening on Bravo. I mean, that Summer House episode was the perfect example of, I don't know, that was beautiful. I was like crying during that scene.
It was so good.
I wish that they could have those kinds of like open conversations like that on Southern Hospitality. And I think they're trying. I just don't think it's coming across the way that they want it to with aka one of their fellow cast members.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that the Summer House conversation did air so close to it, because I think the audience was kind of like primed to be thinking about these things. I also think, obviously, I'm very disgusted by Emmy's actions, but it's almost, to me as like a viewer, I'm like, her being like so egregious and so foul, maybe that's what some people in this audience need to see to like understand, because nobody is defending her. Like, in my comments anyway, I've not gotten one single comment defending her. Like, the fan base is very unified against her, and I'm very glad to see that, because that's not always the case in these situations, as we maybe will get to with Charm.
No, totally. Well, and I also think the way that she acts, aside from what we've discussed for the majority of this episode, is pretty unexcusable. Everyone's just so over the like, it's like, okay, bitch. Like that's just what I'm saying. Like, just take a deep breath. Again, I really wanted to see her come out the other end this season. I do think, again, there was a real friendship there, but I don't know what has happened, but it's not good.
Folks, I have a glorious head of hair, but even as I get older, I notice that the top is starting to thin a little bit, and your confidence can thin a little bit too when that happens. And that's why Hims makes it simple to feel like yourself again with access to simple, personalized care that fits your life and your hair goals. Now, Hims offers convenient access to a range of prescription hair loss treatments with ingredients that work, including chews, oral medications, serums, and sprays. There's doctor-trusted ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil, which can stop further hair loss and regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. Because you shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hims brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. There are no hidden fees, there are no surprise costs, just real personalized care on your schedule. Think of Hims as your digital front door that gets you back to your old self with simple 100% online access to trusted treatments for real health concerns all in one place. So, for simple online access to personalized and affordable care for hair loss, ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/sobad. That's hims.com/sobad for your free online visit, hims.com/sobad. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information. Individual results may vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride.
No.
I did
not
like
at
that she
all.
took a shot this episode, though. I thought that was kind of
Well,
funny.
I don't know how I was like, why are you doing that? Why are you breaking your sobriety for no reason? Like it was just bizarre to me.
Look, at first I was like, that is kind of weird. You put in 2 years of work, but she didn't go sober because she was an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
It was like a personal choice. And I understand her being like, I want people to know how serious I am about this. Like, I think this is the one thing I can do.
But
And
then
they
don't do
were
the FaceTime call later in the episode.
right,
saying
and
that
then
you're
it all went down
sorry
the
of
drain.
it.
Exactly, it all went down the drain. And you know what I did like? You could hear, I think it was Brad saying like, someone, you do not have to do this if you don't
Yeah.
want to. Like, we're not making you do this. So, yeah. How about, did you see the Landon spotting?
Oh my god, that was horrifying. I was like, we have one diabolical white woman on this show. We don't need to be reminded
Keep
of Landon.
out of it. If you guys don't remember, it's like when Joe Bradley's like walking down the street. I actually love that scene, by the way. Joe, Justin, and Bradley like trying to get people to come into Republic. You hear, "Hi, Joe," and obviously she sees all the cameras and shit. It pans.
She was definitely so excited that she saw cameras.
It's Landon, who was previously on Southern Charm, on the back of a golf cart. That was unexpected, but it just goes to show it is a small town out there, a really small town. Speaking of, should we go to the other side of town?
Yeah, let's go to the older side of town.
Yeah, let's go to speaking of older side of town, I don't know why, because this age gap isn't that large to me, but I was shocked to hear that Molly O'Connell's boyfriend is 56 years old.
It's a significant age gap.
But is it not kind of the same length as like TJ and Michael's?
I think it's more. I think it's like 6 more years.
Okay. Either way, I know that she's always kind of been into the older men.
Oh, I'm not shaming it. I mean,
yeah. And
it's
you know what?
very similar to my parents' age gap.
That's true. People forget. I just learned this. Big age gap. So yeah, we get into the Southern Charm reunion part 1. Reunions are kind of hard to recap. Typically from like I used to have a recap podcast and reunions were always tough, although there is kind of a lot to talk about.
This was a better reunion episode than a lot of Bravo's ones have been recently.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I need to start off this segment with a hot take. Josh, you know this. I've talked about this when I've interviewed you on my podcast. Please don't log off after I say this, everybody. I love SallEy. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, we've upgraded from like to love.
Okay, and let me explain. I love watching her on reality TV. I don't know that I would love her being my bestie, but I just think like she's made this season more interesting than it ever could have been. You have to admit, if it wasn't for SallEy, this season would be all about Austin and Craig fighting. Like, yeah, SallEy is like my God, girl, like, come on. But it's great TV. Like, the way that the season ended with her having this Notebook-esque moment with Austin, like, it's so good.
Yeah. No, I mean, yes, I agree. She's great TV. Agree also that I would not want her to be my friend.
Yeah, I mean,
But
she's exhausting.
I thought it was interesting, though, with this episode, and maybe it'll change in part 2, or if there's a part 3, I have no idea how many parts there are going to be, but she wasn't really in the hot seat at all, and I thought she might be, just because she was kind of the talk of the season, and her, like, pick-me energy and just general crazy behavior was so much of the social media discussion, but it really was kind of Craig and Austin here who were in the hot seat more than her.
They'll definitely get into it in a different part, because they haven't even talked about the Charlie of it all, right? And that was the biggest thing, is like Charlie not, I mean, that's a huge part of this season. Charlie and Craig hiding their relationship because they're basically afraid of SallEy. So I definitely think she'll get more heat. What I was interested by, though, is how much everyone was siding with SallEy with the whole her and Austin thing. Like, even Andy, like, everyone basically, like, we're pushing SallEy on Austin. And I'm kind of like, if Austin doesn't want to be with her, guys, that's okay.
Okay, I'm so glad that you said this, because I kind of felt like I was going crazy. Obviously, there were things that Austin said in this reunion that I did not love when he was talking about SallEy, and a lot of people have talked about, like, the slut-shaming and him kind of being shamey about her lifestyle. But ultimately, I think he was just trying to say he's just not that into her and doesn't view her as somebody that he would be in a long-term relationship with. And it was kind of bizarre how everybody was, like, including Andy, like you said, was trying to, like, poke holes in all his reasons for not wanting to date her. Like, he doesn't have to be with SallEy. And I liked that he actually said at one point, like, you guys aren't going to bully me into wanting to date SallEy. Like, that was kind of what was happening.
No, I completely agree with you. It's funny because, like, I felt bad for Austin, and then I stopped feeling bad for Austin when he did call her a bar rat, talking about her body count, saying that she's running the streets. Like, those are horrible terms to use to describe a woman. And I agree with SallEy saying, well, yeah, I'm single. If I was in a relationship, I wouldn't be doing that. And my mindset of that was like, is that not exactly what Austin was begging Craig to do last season, of like, come out to the bar with us, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, I almost feel like he was pushed to say all those things because everyone's like, well, why don't you want to date her? Why do you want to date her? Why do you want to date her? It's like, yes. He was pushed to say those things when really it's like, I don't know. Now, let me ask you this, because this might have to do with this. Do you think that they have sex?
Yeah.
See, I don't. And
Really?
maybe that might change my tune. I think if they were having sex, then yeah, fuck you, Austin, you should date this girl. But I think if they were having sex, SallEy would have straight up been like, Austin, don't lie, we've been hooking up, because that's all she wants. She wants people to know that she's with Austin.
But there were, like, Madison, I know that, like, Madison hangs out with them, and she was saying, like, stop lying. I think Madison's reaction to that is the reason that I do think they are having sex, because she seems so convinced that that is happening, and she does hang out with them.
You know what? That is a good point. And her and SallEy are quite close. And you're right. I just feel like they were both so coy. And in my eyes, I do think if they were together, they both would just be like, yeah, we've been hooking up. It's fun. It's like not a big deal.
Maybe they were trying to not be X-rated, and maybe they're just not penetrating and they didn't want to get into the dirty details.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think they're doing bits, like they say on Love Island.
Yeah,
but
definitely doing bits.
I don't think, and you know what, that I did kind of have that thought as well. So I don't disagree. I also do think Austin is afraid to say anything because of the Audrey repercussions, which, I mean, when he was on Viall Files, you could tell he still has a soft spot for her. I don't know why he decided to self-sabotage that fucking relationship. And even Madison saying she's the one that got away. I don't know. The whole SallEy thing is weird. At the end of the day, I actually do believe what SallEy was saying of like, if I was your girlfriend, I would be your girlfriend. I would be making you dinner. I would be loyal. I would be this, I'd be that. But I'm single. I'm not your girlfriend. So why am I going to, like, I get it. Why is she going to stay locked inside her house, hoping maybe if I don't go out, Austin will want to date me? Like, fuck that.
No, I agree with that. I don't like that sentiment. I do think there is, I don't know. I think that it kind of has lived rent-free in my head since it was said to her, the comment that they brought up at this reunion where it was like her therapist or somebody said like if you want to be a wife, you have to act like a wife. I kind of love that, but I don't. Like, it's very like toxic and not correct. But I've been thinking about it for myself. I'm like, what can I do to make myself more husband material?
I think I agree with that statement to an extent, obviously.
It doesn't mean that SallEy shouldn't be allowed to go out on King Street. Like, let that lady live, let that lady drink, let her enjoy her life.
Right. But then again, it goes back to Austin doesn't need to fucking date her if he doesn't want to. Like, if the tables were turned, and this has been a discourse through the whole season, if a man was acting the way that SallEy was acting, we would not be in the reunion being like, you should really date him.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking, like, the comments she was making were kind of gross. Very, like, sexualizing Austin. It's like, sure, Austin probably likes it, but that's still, it's basically, like, I don't know. It's just... the whole thing's weird. I don't know.
No, she crossed some lines with some of the things that she said. And you're right, if SallEy was a man. But I guess, I mean, Jesse Solomon kind of does to Sierra what SallEy does to Austin in a way.
That is a really interesting point. You're right.
But Andy wouldn't be at the reunion begging Jesse and Sierra to date.
Exactly. But yeah, exactly. I don't know. What's your take on Whitner? I feel like he's a little spicy.
He is. I think he was feeling himself a little bit. I think the audience, like, being really supportive of him, I don't want to say went to his head, but I think he was feeling empowered by that going into this reunion. I think he saw, I mean, I know that I don't know if I should. Whitner follows me on Instagram. So Whitner sees the things that the creators are saying, and I and a lot of other creators have been really harsh towards Craig this season. So maybe Whitner saw that. And I mean, Whitner was also shady about Craig at certain points during the season, but definitely was more at this reunion. I'm kind of here for it. Like, I was tickled by Whitner going after Craig in the way that he was. But I do also wonder... I think it kind of goes both ways. I think Craig saw how much positive attention Whitner was getting from the fans this season, and I think he's fucking pissed about it.
Oh, are you kidding? Of course. You know, it does kind of go back. I think, you know, you may have even talked about this, about how we thought Austin realized that the fans were anti-Craig, so then that's what led him to go against Craig. I noticed it with Whitner as well. I do think Whitner, like, throughout the season, he's always kind of been the same, right? He's had the same takes. He is logical. He's smart. He's like a normal guy with like valid takes. I think he did go a little extra hard at the reunion because exactly what you said. He knows the fans like him, and he knows the fans hate Craig. And but maybe he's always felt this way.
I think he has, but I think during the season it was more like even. Like, he was kind of like shady about all of the other men on the show, and then at the reunion it was kind of like just Craig that he was doing that to.
Right. And then it's interesting because I think it was at the very end of the reunion when Craig says, Whitner, this is your first season. You don't know anything about this life. And my thing is like, what Whitner is saying has nothing to do with reality TV. It has to do with real life. This is how you act, Craig. This is you. I don't know about a reality show, but I know what I see right in front of me, and it's your fucking behavior, dude.
Yes. And I think that that's a common thing with Craig, is him trying to act like his real life and his TV life are, because we saw that also when he said like that he only yells at people because of the cameras, and it's like, we know that that's not true, Craig, respectfully.
Right. And then all of them being like, you literally yelled at SallEy in front of her mom.
And then Craig thinking that it was like doing something to make the distinction that he didn't yell at her, he just made her cry. Like, Craig, that's not a distinction that you should have made.
Almost worse, like literally almost worse.
But I do have to say, I'm a famous Craig disliker. However, this reunion did kind of validate the Craig fans who say like he could never leave the show because all anybody ever does is talk about him. Like, everyone was talking about Craig this episode.
You know what? You're right. I mean, Craig is the star of Southern Charm. He is the show.
And I hate it because I really dislike him, but everyone's story, a lot of the storylines this season revolved around Craig.
Dude, it kind of is becoming like a Jax Taylor, although Jax Taylor was surrounded by a cast that also had large personalities. But like, imagine if Jax Taylor was plopped on this Southern Charm cast. He would be the star. He would be the drama. He would be the one that's causing all the issues but with Jax, people were excusing him season after season after season until one day you just like couldn't excuse it anymore. We got to fire you off of Bravo. I think Craig is heading in that direction.
Well, that's the thing that's so interesting is that, yes, this cast is very clearly reaching, if not at a breaking point with him, but also by focusing so much on his behavior, they're just like guaranteeing that he's going, like the show, I don't think the show would do well without him, and I don't like him, and I'm even saying that. Like, I think him leaving the show, I would be happy to not have to watch him scream at women anymore, but I think the quality of the show would go down because he is so much of what everyone speaks about. And that's a really difficult position to be in when that is true at the same time as he doesn't really have that many friendships left in the cast and they just seem generally done with him. So I don't know what that means for the future of the show. It's a difficult position.
Well, you know what, though? He has done a good job attaching himself to Madison, right?
That's true.
And here's the thing. I like Madison, but she's not really bringing anything to the show in terms of like drama. Like it's kind of like a Lindsay Hubbard in this stage. It's like I want to see her on my screen, but when she's not around, it doesn't really affect the outcome of the show anymore. So like, yeah, like maybe if Madison was still Madison from 3 seasons ago, Craig could leave and the show could go on. But Craig is the source of all this drama. Shep can't carry the show. Austin can't carry the show. Craig will never leave. If he left it, I think the show would end.
I do too.
Now, let me ask you this. Now that we've talked about Charlie being with Justin, do you think Charlie is going to return for a following season of Southern Charm?
No, probably not. I don't really know what... Okay, and I guess I'm not saying this because I think this is how it should be, but it's just how it is. I talk about this a lot on TikTok, is that Southern Charm is kind of like a dating show. Like when those producers are bringing these girls on, they very clearly are bringing them on with the mindset of like, we want them to be in relationships with one of the three. And then we've seen many situations where as soon as the women, like Chelsea is an example, Olivia is an example, as soon as they decide that they're not romantically interested in one of the 3 guys, the show is like, okay, peace, thank you for your service. And I kind of think that's what's going to happen to Charlie.
Yeah, but you know what could be an interesting plot twist, okay? I think if Justin, her boyfriend on Southern Hospitality, has a really good showing this season, maybe they kind of do, this is my pitch to the network. Now, granted, I'm not like begging for Charlie to stay on the show. I liked Charlie for sure, but I think she could leave and everything would be fine. But if Justin has a good showing on Southern Hospitality, they could kind of do what they did with Paige and Craig, where people love Paige on Summer House, people love Paige or Craig on love quotes on Southern Charm. Let's cross-pollinate. Let's bring Paige onto Charm. Let's put Craig onto Summer House. And they could kind of bop around to each other's show, and that could act as an incentive for people would want to, like, I'm sure there are people out there that love Paige so much but don't watch Southern Charm, but only watched her episodes on Southern.
Oh, definitely.
Like, I think that there's something there, maybe.
Yeah, if Justin, I think it's a big if Justin is going to be popular enough.
And look, these are both 1-season wonders so far right now. So yeah, I don't know. Wait, I can't believe I didn't even ask you this. This isn't really even a question. It's more of a statement. Austin and SallEy having a sleepover watching Heated Rivalry together?
Oh my God.
I mean, I know that's your show.
Oh, it is, but that's just wrong. That makes it less my show. I'm like, keep them away. And even Austin and Craig, the edit on Instagram that they did. Did you see the Bravo social tweet they did?
I'm also like, we talked about that on the Reality of Reality months ago. But
we did. But I'm like, leave Heated Rivalry alone. I don't want it associated with these nasty people.
Right. You're making, by SallEy and Austin watching Heated Rivalry together, you're making the show straight. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've never heard of 2 straighter people watching a gay show before.
No, I'm like, get away from it.
Please.
They should, Sally Carson should not know who Shane Hollander is. Like, that's just wrong.
No. I actually disagree. She can know who he is, but she shouldn't watch it with Austin. She should watch it in her own time. Everybody,
okay, that's fair.
Heated Rivalry is for everybody, okay?
I can accept this.
But like, I would never, I'm not watching Heated Rivalry. Well, you know what? If my boyfriend wanted to watch Heated Rivalry, I would watch it with him, I guess.
Do you think it would like turn you guys on?
I want to say like, yes, I want to be like so like
Progressive.
like that, but I don't think it would do it for him. I just gotta be honest. I don't think it's doing it for him.
What about you?
I mean, I'm seeing ass, Josh. Of course. Are you kidding?
I love that I've started interrogating you about your sex life on So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey.
Oh my God, I know this. But people, mind you, this is a lot of people's first impression of us.
and I think that's right. I like that.
Okay, I want to reel it in real fast because I saw something on Reddit that shook me.
I'm scared.
It's about Southern Charm, obviously. Remember SallEy's boyfriend Andrew from last season with the long hair and the top? Yeah. So again, this is just on Reddit, not confirmed. We don't know if this is true or not, but this Reddit post from an account called Serious Ice 3964 says, I cannot believe no one has answered this question yet, so I will. The fiance, I guess it's a reply to something. And it was talking about Whitner and his engagement. Because like Whitner was engaged. We kind of talked about it, but like we never really talked about it that much. The fiance may have wanted out for a lot of reasons, but the actual reason the engagement ended between Whitner and his fiance is because she cheated on him. Who did she cheat with? Andrew. Andrew is SallEy's ex who made an appearance on her first season. It's not being discussed because SallEy and Whitner don't want to film with Andrew.
What?
I guess, and look, again, I don't know if that's true.
Unverified Reddit gossip.
Reddit gossip. But it could make sense. I mean, that's a fucking crazy connection. But I could understand. I've heard things about how, like, fuck this guy, like SallEy hates this guy. And I do think that if this is brought to camera, producers are going to want to get him in.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's tea.
And they should. Suddenly we have a storyline for next season. Like, let's get into
and suddenly
it.
That's a storyline for Whitner. Like, that's big. That's big. That's a big connection. But I don't know.
Who knows if it's true?
Who knows if it's true? I literally just saw it and didn't do any further research. I just was like, I need to talk to Josh about this. But I love that kind of tea. And if I've learned anything from Southern Hospitality and Southern Charm, it really is. Charleston is a small fucking town. And we noticed that firsthand when we were there, where like we like talked to a bouncer at the gay bar the first night we were there. And then the last day I was there, I'm literally locking my bike up next to the bouncer. Like we were seeing the same people throughout the whole fucking weekend.
Recurring characters.
Characters. So look, stranger things have happened in the town of Charleston, I'm sure.
That's really interesting. I mean, I would love that to be true for the quality of this show purposes.
Yeah. It could save the show.
I do have one more reunion question for you.
Please.
I was kind of confused, and this really is going to make me sound like I'm like this big Austin Kroll defender. That truly is not the case. However, I thought it was a little weird how everyone was acting like he was crazy for pointing out the obvious thing that a lot of fans have also been pointing out, that it is weird that Craig last season called himself an alcoholic and now this season is just drinking and not making any like clear explanation for why that change happened. And I feel like a lot of the audience has pointed that out. A lot of us have questions about it. But both times now that Austin has brought it up on the show, everyone's like, you're being so out of line. Why are you saying this? And I'm kind of like, why are we acting like this isn't a normal question to ask?
We are not talking enough about that. And I think there's two sides to that too. I think there's the side of, Craig lying for sympathy, I guess. You could say, like, him saying that on screen was his way of getting out of things. I can't control myself. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a victim, right? That's number one.
He always is.
Always is.
Emmy.
Number two is, if he actually meant that stuff and wasn't trying to be a victim and seriously felt that he had a problem, then this is bad. Then this is really bad what we're watching on screen right now.
That's actually my theory of what's going on, is that if they treat what Austin is saying as valid, then the show has to confront the fact that Craig is an active alcoholic who is drinking and in active addiction, and they are just like letting that happen and not doing anything about it. That's kind of my theory, because that would reflect poorly on kind of the cast and everyone involved.
Right. And look, here's the thing. I mean, anybody with eyes can see Craig has a drinking problem. Like, he gets really angry when he drinks. And when he was with Paige, it did actually seem like he was taking the steps to maybe not go sober, but to drink less or not drink liquor. And it seemed to be working for him for the most part. I think that maybe I don't know. I don't want to speak on somebody's sobriety or whatever, but it's like, let's say he was over exaggerating it, and that's why people are just like, whatever, it's Craig, like, let him drink. It just then goes back to him always fucking lying about shit. Like, then he didn't actually think he had a problem. He just lied about it to gain sympathy, XYZ, whatever. Craig is someone I will never be able to therapize. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why that man does half the things that he does.
No, that's valid. I also think there's maybe some element to it where, like, I think, and a lot of people have talked about this, but, like, I think Paige told him or encouraged him to do something about his drinking. And then it's kind of like, I don't know why this is, like, the reference that's coming in my mind, but, like, if your dad, like, has diabetes and, like, your mom is the one who's, like, and that's the case for me. I feel like if my parents got divorced, my dad would be like, fuck you, I'm eating all the chocolate in the world. Like, just, like, resent. I feel like it's, like, a resentment thing. Like, he's like, fuck you, Paige. Like, I can drink whatever I want.
Right. And then I also think, going back to the Austin thing, too, I've noticed that whenever Austin brings up that point that you just made about Craig from last season, it then always goes back to like, well, isn't that what you wanted? Didn't you want Craig to go out to the bar with you and leave his house, blah, blah, blah? It's like, Austin, again, I am also sounding like an Austin defender. I don't hate Austin, by the way, by any means, but like, Austin was saying, yeah, I want to go out to the bar with my friend. He wasn't saying, I want to rip fucking 20 shots a night and have Craig black out and not remember anything and yell at the girls. Like, two things can be true. Craig can still go out to the bar with Austin and control himself.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. It's just, they're all a fucking mess. And the fact that Shep Rose is the voice of reason between these two at the reunion is crazy. But again, I'm going to be a Shep defender now. If Shep can clean his act up, at least outwardly from what we can see, and reel himself in, because Shep used to be just as fucking bad, then anybody can do it. Shep is still going out to bars, like hanging out with his friends. Shep has had some pretty bad moments in the past, right? But he's been able to reel it in and control himself and still be able to do the things that he wants to do with his friends, go on these trips. I do feel like he is... I can't even believe I'm saying this, but a really good example for Craig.
No, I don't disagree. And it does seem like, not Shep because he's traveling a lot when they're not filming, but outside of Shep, and we'll give that as the excuse, and maybe just because he's so much older than all of them, but outside of Shep and outside of Craig, because he's not really friends with this core group anymore, it does seem like the rest of them go out a lot. They're like always posting on social media together, like at bars, and it doesn't seem like they're all like belligerently drunk. So yeah, Going back to what you were saying about Austin wanting Craig to go out, yeah, he wasn't saying like, let's go out and get wasted every night of the week.
Right.
That just seems like the culture of their friend group to just like be at bars, which is very normal, and most people like can handle that.
Right, totally. And if Craig can't handle it, then it all goes back to, then you need to get your shit under control, like you had been saying in the past seasons and everyone was supporting you with. I don't know. Look, obviously we are talking to the So Bad It's So Good fan base. So like, you guys might have differing takes than us, and like, that is totally fine. And that is like the beautiful thing of reality TV is like, that's what makes it fun. I love going through my comment section and seeing what people are saying. You know, I'm sure people that are listening might love Craig Conover, might be huge Craig fans, and might think that we're crazy for thinking these things. And that's fine. These are just our takes.
Yeah, but throw your thoughts in the comments.
Throw your thoughts in the comments. We love the girls. We love the gays. We do love Bradley Carter. Like, he is genuinely a friend of ours. So this season of Southern Charm has actually, I will say, despite everything I've been saying, has probably been one of my favorite ones I've watched in a while. It's been the most interesting.
Oh, it's a huge improvement from last season and the season before that, and maybe the season. And yeah, honestly, this might be my favorite season since like the COVID. Not the COVID one was a bad season, since before the COVID season.
Right. Yeah.
But I also am worried about the future of it at the same time. Like, I'm like, this was really good, but I don't know how sustainable it is.
I don't know either. I would like to see them take a Summer House approach and stop booting off every girl that fucking breaks up with Craig Austin or Shep, and keep SallEy or keep Charlie on. Let's actually see this big, beautiful friendship that Charlie and SallEy claim to have with each other. You know, SallEy and Vanita's friendship is interesting to me. I love Molly. I mean, I like that Molly... They're keeping Molly on, hopefully.
Yeah,
I
no,
love
definitely.
I
I
love
think
me
so.
some Molly, baby. But
And I love the moment that we got with Molly and Vanita in this episode where that talked about Vanita being very apologetic about the vagina stuff.
right, Molly and and that's growth. That's good. I
Yeah.
love, and I bias. I love Anita as well. I like Madison. It's like it does seem like we are on a trajectory of having women on the show that aren't dating the men. And look at us now. We had a good season.
Yeah,
Granted,
no, that's
I
true.
guess it all goes back to though if SallEy Carson had anything to say about it, she would be dating one of those men. So,
Well, yes, that's true.
but she knows how to play the game.
Did you catch there was a moment where when I think it was right after Austin said he's not going to be bullied into dating SallEy, and SallEy said something to him like, "Well, how do you know that I would date you?" And it was like, "SallEy, girl,
Please, not now. Not
like, have
after
some
all we've been
dignity."
through, girl.
She's so funny though. I like laughed out loud at her multiple times in this episode,
And
and she
that's
looks great.
I mean, that's what I'm saying though. She's like hilarious TV. I just God, I love it so much. Well, you know what, Josh? I have to say, it was really fun doing this with you because at the time that we're recording this, it is Friday, March 20th, the day after all the Taylor Frankie Paul stuff came out. And it has been kind of nice to separate from that
No,
for about an hour.
It's so nice to be in Bravo world and not Mormon
Oh,
world.
I miss Bravo world, man. I miss the simpler times when our biggest issue was Molly O'Connell's vagina. Like, bring me back to those days,
Yeah,
please.
take us back to Molly's vagina.
Take us back. But no, and Ryan, if you're listening, I'm sure you are. We want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to come and, take over for you while you are on paternity leave. And we're really glad to know that Rebecca's doing well. Little baby Romy's doing well. There's still a chance for you to change your name to RHONY, though.
I think it should be considered.
She doesn't know her name yet.
No, absolutely not. She won't for at least 2 years.
Yeah, so
There's
think it
time.
over. And then Josh, let's replug yourself. If anybody's listening and says, "Hey, I kind of like these kids."
Yeah, and I think they will. Then you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Josh the RHONY Stan. And I also just recently launched another account at Josh's Inner Monologue, only on TikTok for like personal vlog, and also I'm like dropping my interview content there. So follow me there as well.
And Josh, you've been getting those interviews lately. Canada Shore, Top Chef. I'm very proud of you.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm on my interview grind.
You really are. And then I'm Kate Riccio. My handles are Riccio Recaps, RICCIO. And then again, my podcast that I've shamelessly plugged throughout this whole interview is The Reality of Reality. It's fairly new. It's interviewing reality stars, talking about reality TV. Again, I have an episode with Ryan, a couple episodes with Josh. And that's been really fun. If you listened and you don't like us, you can find us at Nick Vile and at Vile.
I was like, who of our ops is she about to say?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just throwing it back to them not saying Vile Files in Southern Hospitality. But yeah, and thank you guys so much for listening. Seriously. And please send all the love to Ryan, Rebecca, and Romy. We are so happy for them.
Yes, truly.
Thank you.